So if you want to write performance systems, you need to learn C++. You might have heard this one argument time and again. And in today's video, we are going to talk about whether you should be learning C++ in 2019 and how viable of a programming language it is for writing actual systems in 2019 and beyond. We are going to take a quick look in this video. So let's get started. Subscribe to Rayn Studios YouTube channel in order to learn more about software development. Also make sure to click the bell icon in order to be notified whenever a new content is available on the channel. Okay, so let's talk about C++ in 2019. So I am going to break down the target demographics of this video into 4 camps. The university students, the absolute beginners who are trying to learn programming, then the robotics guys, and then the experienced web developers. So let's start with the guys who are just starting a university course. So in case you have enrolled yourself into a university course where you are going to learn more about the mechanics of how computer systems work, how memory interacts with the CPU and things like that, learning C++ could be really beneficial for you, because when you are trying to learn the mechanics, you are required to write some sort of program so as to drill those concepts into your mind. And here C++ can really shine, because C++ works really close to the actual hardware. Hence you can write actual programs for thread synchronization, for memory management and all using C++. So if you are into learning how memory works, how to write optimized system which can run at bare metal or native hardware speed, C++ can really be beneficial into, polishing your knowledge in such a way that down the line, if somebody asks you to write some core libraries which can do some performant work, you will not feel uncomfortable in doing so. You would feel pretty confident in dropping down to the lower level programming using C++. Now let's move on to the other category, that is novice programmers who are just trying to learn programming. So for you, I think that C++ is a terrible language to start with, because instead of learning the programming construct, you will end up wasting your precious time into figuring out how to do certain things using C++, because C++ is a very verbose language and there are not many utilities you can use in order to simplify your programming. So this language is not well positioned for absolute beginners. Picking up JavaScript or Python would be a better choice in your case. So in case you are learning how to write simple programs and you are just all about knowing whether programming is something for you or not, you should not pick up C++ as your first programming language. Let's move on to the robotics guys. So in case you are working in robotics field, or you work on things like IoTs, Arduino and Raspberry Pis and drones and things like that, I think that C++ can give you an opportunity to write well optimized programs for your hardwares, because these devices are very memory and resource constrained, which means that you have to write very performant systems from the get-go. You cannot use sophisticated system like some overly engineered language or sophisticated libraries which require quite a lot of resources just to boot up and run. So you have to work very close to the metal in order to write softwares for these resource constrained devices. And I think that C++ is well positioned for this task, because C++ can work really close to the metal. You can write programs which can run at native speed of the hardware without any sort of abstraction. So for robotics guys, for Raspberry Pi programmers, Arduino programmers, C++ is a very good option to program your systems in. Let's move on to the final category of programmers, that is experienced web developers. Now I think that you should really take some time out of your regular JavaScript and CSS and HTML programming and try to learn C++ on the side, because we have got this one interesting thing on the horizon, that is WebAssembly. Now if you are someone who is not aware of WebAssembly or what it can do for you, let me break it down in simple terms for you. So WebAssembly allows you to run C or C++ programs using your web browser, which means that now you can use all of these C++ libraries which have been designed by many engineers over the decades. You can use those libraries in your web enabled application. So you can write custom bloom filters, you can create Instagram sort of filters for your web application in C++. Then you can call these filters and these functions of C++ into your web application via JavaScript. So C++ can actually allow you to write performant system or allow you to segregate parts where heavy computation is being done. So you can write those systems using C++. Then you can bridge or call those highly performant and optimized systems in C++ via JavaScript, and then you can make your application more performant when it comes to utilizing your system resources. So if you can learn C++ on the side and you can dabble with C++ programming a little, you can utilize all of those interesting libraries which have been coded and optimized for over decades by other programmers. So you can utilize all of those plethora of options out there for writing performance systems using C++, and then you can bring that performant functionality over to your web applications as well, which means that now you can optimize your web application even further. So for writing performant application in future, I think WebAssembly is going to be a really good option, and this is the exact same reason I have started to learn C++ on the side. I am not devoting quite a lot of time in learning C++, but whenever I get some free time, I make sure that I try to write or learn a thing or two about C++ system, because I have programmed quite a lot for web, but now I want to make applications that can act like native or desktop class application, and WebAssembly can help us in doing that. So for experienced web developers, I think that C++ is going to be very big in future. So you should really try to learn this ancient but very crucial language in 2019. So here's the bonus thing. If you are someone who is dealing with machine learning, artificial intelligence and all, I think that you should just stay away from C++, because I do not think that C++ can actually help you in writing succinct code. Languages like Python, R are well suited for that purpose. Do not think about employing C++ for writing that linear regression algorithm, because you are going to write quite a lot of code just to do very little amount of work. Hence, you should refrain from using C++ for such tasks. And with that, we have reached to the conclusion of this video. I think I was able to address this perennial question about whether you should learn C++ in 2019 or not. I think you might have got your answer. In case you have any more doubts regarding this subject matter, make sure to leave a comment on this video. I'll try to rectify your doubts to the best of my knowledge. And in case you are new here, we talk about computer programming and all on this channel. So click that subscribe button in order to learn more about computer programming and all. So this is your guy Rajesh Saxena signing off, and I'll see you around.